Hey, how's it going, Ethan?
Good, good. Hold on. Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Yeah,
Great. Oh, is that Ethan?
Um,
Ethan,
yeah,
nice to meet you.
I like your name.
I like your name too, man.
Yeah.
all right. I think a couple more people could be joining. Yeah, this is what we have for now. Yeah, so thanks for um taking the time. We have, we're all excited to work with you this upcoming semester. And appreciate, your willingness to work with us. We I don't know if you got a chance to look at what we sent over, but we're
Yeah,
sort of just browsing your website, just putting down what we grasped from that. And we had some questions, about you, yourself, how you started the business, and a little bit more intricacies of the business itself. Um, but I guess before we get to that, just an introduction for myself and Ethan before we get to that. Um, my name's Hunter, and I'm from New York. I'm a senior here in Michigan studying economics, sociology, and entrepreneurship. Um, yeah, and Ethan, if you want to go with them too.
Yeah, so I'm Ethan. I'm from Denver, Delaware. I'm a senior and I'm majoring in economics and minoring in entrepreneurship. And yeah, I've just always kind of been interested in entrepreneurship just because I like examining new businesses and sort of like value creation and stuff like that. So
excellent, excellent. Love it. All right. Well, good to meet you both. I know that we might have some other people joining, but so I'm Ethan, and I run BSG Tire Recycling. We're actually going through a whole rebrand right now as Tread Cycle. So that's kind of information that you guys have, but it'll be launching. Our PR people and everybody are putting that together for the end of March. But essentially, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 19. So I don't know that I even would know how to work a regular job, so to speak. But I think the last corporate job I had was working for a company called EDS, and then I went out on my own and haven't looked back. So I'm a lawyer. I went from undergrad, where I started my first company, went to law school, came out, had a few offers at some great firms, decided not to do that, and came back and went out with my mother, who was my law partner for a long time, and built a great firm, one of the fastest growing firms in the country for a few years in a row. But then started looking at the world, and one morning my wife and I woke up. Someone had dumped tires in the yard across the street from me. And we called the city because I live in Detroit, and they said, "Oh my God, I hate tires. They're so hard to deal with." And the way that my mind works is, okay, so there's got to be a better way. So let's find it. And so that started at the time my wife was in business school, and she had a B school cohort. And I started just kind of asking questions. I started being curious about the problem, and saw in doing some investigation that there was this disconnect between where the state of waste tires was and where science has said they should be. And that was an opportunity that I saw to kind of move into um, recreating how waste tires are looked at. They've traditionally been seen as a junk or waste industry. And I believe that there's value in every part of a tire. And so we started out in 2021. Um, I did a family and friends round. I happen to be just, relationships that I've had, local family office, and, really large contractors who believed in the vision. It was the first time that I'd done something that was based really around more of my passion and more of an idea where I saw that commercial enterprise could solve the problem faster and more effectively than either government or nonprofit. And so that's how we got started. Flash forward to now it's 2024. I just got back from China. I was there through an introduction that I met through the TED conference, which was here in Detroit last year. Chinese National came by. We were on the Leaders Quest tour visit. She came by, saw what we were doing, really liked it, said, "Hey, we're doing it better in China. You should come." And so I just kind of stepped out and went. I just decided to go and came back home with a cooperation agreement. They've got some patented technology that allows them to actually further refine tires and put them back into original tires. And so now I'm working on my second pitch and business plan for doing a raise to build a new manufacturing plant here using that technology that we've licensed exclusively for North America.
Awesome. Yeah, so it sounds great. Appreciate the background. Quick question. So this is your second round. The first round was family and friends, you said, yeah, right?
So seed, I guess almost pre-seed, but seed round was family and friends. And I say family and friends, even though friends include a pretty significant family office here in the Metro Detroit area, as well as the owner of a $100+ million contracting company. And so that happened to be family and friends. But then as we went on, we expanded into, one family office knows another. And, so now what we're looking at is expanding into, it wouldn't technically be a Series A. I think it would still be a CB almost like, yeah. So, and the way that the financing works at the lower level is very different from what it looks like once you start building, building a different kind of cap table outside of the relationships.
Yeah. And are you sort of growing that, your employee base as you're expanding from, different rounds, or is it just really the two of you right now?
So the biggest challenge that we face is employees. And I say that only because the work that we do is dirty, it's hard work. So what we've been trying to do is find a really great group of talented people and then surround them with all the technology and the tools that they need to automate and to kind of bring some almost kind of relief to the backbreaking work that it would ordinarily be to process tires.
Awesome. Yeah, makes sense.
Looks like
That's helpful.
Gavin, you just joined us. Hey, Gavin, how are you?
Good. How are you, Ethan?
Good.
Just got out of class, so yeah, sorry, I was running a little bit late. I don't know if you guys ran through introductions at all, but I'm a senior at the University of Michigan. I've always been kind of interested in sustainability. I grew up about like 40 minutes outside of Detroit, so your business sounds pretty interesting to me, and really excited to learn more about it on this call.
Awesome. I see the Detroit all day in the background there. So
yeah. I'm from Canton, so
okay, cool.
I mean, yeah,
yeah.
Detroit, but I mean, definitely always had a lot of love for the city and the sports teams and stuff.
Right.
So
absolutely. Okay, cool. Gavin, I kind of interrupted you there. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, that was
that was Hunter. Was that Hunter?
Yeah,
I interrupted. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
No, don't worry about it. That was my fault. I just stopped there. But yeah, no, it's helpful to hear about sort of, where the influence came from the company and your initial growth. So we appreciate that. When we were sort of looking at the website, we were trying to grasp, what exactly the channels were and what exactly the business does. So to better reword that, we understand the mission. We understand, a little bit about what you do, but it would be helpful to hear about the different channels that you put tires through, from the beginning all the way to the end of the process, and what that sort of looks like.
Sure. So we are in a regulated industry, so you've got to be licensed. So we got our license in 2022, but the first channel is really transportation and logistics. It's hauling. So people in Michigan and throughout the United States pay to have their scrap tires picked up. They're called tipping fees. We collect tipping fees from hauling that are designed to cover the costs of processing plus some margin. So the more we can charge in tipping fees, or the less we can expense, the more profitable it is, and that's at the first level. So that, I guess that would be one channel. Once material comes in, we run it through our shredders, and we make a material called tire derived aggregate. There's a type A and a type B. There's an ASTM standard for that, and its main application is in civil engineering. So lightweight fill, green stormwater infrastructure projects. It's an aggregate. So just like you would use stone, sand, or gravel, you can use tire derived aggregate as well. It's got some unique properties. And so that is a second channel that we are working on building, because unlike in the states around us, like Illinois, Minnesota, with, California, Arizona, even further out west, we do not use tire-derived aggregate in Michigan at the scale at which it could be used and probably should be used. It's been used for 30 plus years. And so we joined the Michigan Aggregates Association specifically to spread awareness and educate builders and decision makers about the use case for this material. So that's the second channel. Third channel is recycled rubber mulch. So we can take tire-derived aggregate and we can actually take a tire. We can take the sidewalls from that tire and remove that. There's no metal in it. And then we can break that down into a mulch product that's great for landscaping applications. It's durable. It's got a 10-year color guarantee. And so it's really designed around corporations and homeowners that don't want to have to change their mulch every year. So it's a big I guess segment of landscaping, but it is a more expensive product, so the customer base looks a little different. Number one, but number two, it is for us not our primary focus. It's really the thing that it's the product that is most easily absorbed by people who are not aware of what scrap tire recycling can do. And so it is the thing that people say, oh yeah, recycled rubber. Oh yeah, you can make the mulch out of it. So it's something that we have. We have a direct to consumer site at DetroitRubberSupply.com. And then we have, our kind of wholesale operation out of our facility here. So again, that's the other channel. The other channel that we have currently is recycled steel. So rims, steel, bead wire from tires. We remove it and we sell it back to metal recyclers, as a, basically by the ton. And that's where we are now. The material that we are moving out, I think you said you're familiar with our vision, is 100% full circularity of tires. And so our goal from day one has been to eliminate the use of landfills as a place of putting the stuff, and other illegal dumping sites and that kind of thing. We haven't quite achieved that, but we are probably about 90% there because we forged a strong partnership with the largest crumb rubber manufacturer in the country, which is just across the border in Indiana. And we actually take our process material to the extent that we're able to process it with our equipment, and we ship it to them so that they can then turn it into crumb rubber, which has a number of applications. It has a higher value simply because it is the stuff that you can use in injection molded products and that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, awesome. It all sounds great. Just two quick questions off of that. The first one, a little more straightforward. I was just curious if TDA is fully biodegradable or not. I'm not sure if you had mentioned that.
So biodegradable is everything is biodegradable over time, right? But TDA does not go away. I mean, it'll take hundreds of years for that aggregate to go away. It's similar to like say, stone, which is a natural product. But what's happened in science is that they've studied it. And even though it's not, I don't consider it biodegradable. Some people, might, just because it could take hundreds of years to go away, but I don't consider it biodegradable. What I don't consider it is toxic. So they've done studies in terms of its ability to remove phosphorus from water, to actually provide, new properties, especially for water runoff. And so the stormwater infrastructure, especially with a lot of the flooding that we've had, could benefit from, some sort of use case like that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And then the second question was, based off all those channels, if you had sort of, maybe if you knew the numbers or had some sort of guesstimate regarding, what percentage of business that is for you, and if that's what what your goal is, or if you want to sort of increase one or decrease another, something like that.
So We have like the largest part of our business right now is actually hauling and processing, because that's where the raw material comes in. We want to increase our raw material consumption just because what we're looking at is how we can continue to go up the value chain in terms of what we make. And that requires either having or knowing where to get the raw materials for it. So for instance, you can use TDA for ropes. You can actually, we have rubberized chip seal as well that we use crumb with. The challenge that we found is that, you know, you need hundreds of thousands of tons for this. And unless you have either a source or you have the material on site, that creates a problem for fulfillment of contracts. So I think that that would be number one. And number two, I think getting to a place where we can manufacture crumb rubber is going to be very important, because crumb is like kind of like a foundational material that can go into a lot of other things. We're doing an R&D project with Wayne State right now because we've learned that we can run crumb rubber through a thermochemical process to create an activated carbon to remove PFAS from water and carbon dioxide from air. And so we want to see how we can use that at scale for filtration systems.
Awesome. So yeah, no, that's helpful. So in terms of those filtration systems, is there anything new that you've done recently? You know, I know that you said you went on a trip to China. I don't know if there's anything, you know, similar to that in the works.
There is not for the filtration. It's all only been proven scientifically.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Gotcha.
there's no one that's manufacturing at scale. Most people are using, you know, coconut husks. So yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. So I guess you know, just sort of switching sides of the business, it's helpful to hear everything on the back end, of course. But in terms of the customer, I was curious, you know, how you guys sort of acquire new customers. Is repeat business, you know, how often does that occur? Is that at a high percentage? And how do you really, you know, grow that customer base that you guys have?
Yeah, so the easiest base to grow is the collection side, because it's all word of mouth. We're actually the only licensed processor in the city of Detroit. So people can, you know, we did some really simple SEO and you know, got our brand awareness up through, you know, reviews, and it's not even a lot, but it already, you know, pushed us to the top for people looking up tire recycling in Detroit. So that part is what we've done so far. I think that what we still need to do is grow that more, because our volume, we haven't hit our break even number, which is about 2,178 tires a day. So I really want to get there. And so we still need to attract new customers. The challenge with a commodity-based business is that it's almost a race to the bottom a lot of times in terms of price. So we're really looking for a way to differentiate ourselves in the marketplace. A very interesting thing that we found is that if you just do what you say you're going to do, you show up on time and provide just a little bit of additional value, it does differentiate you. As far as customers on the aggregate side, it's a bit more challenging. I'm actually searching for right now, you know, VP of sales, because I have been responsible primarily for most of the sales, but a lot of that has been through relationships. That the issue is time. So I need someone who is essentially dedicated to fostering those relationships through conferences, through trade shows, and through driving awareness at a governmental level. So I mentioned earlier the Michigan Aggregates Association. It's actually a lobbying organization. And before I joined, I said, hey, we've got an aggregate. Are you going to lobby for us and for the inclusion of this in future state budgets and all of that? And they said, well, it's an aggregate and we know that it works and there's an ASTM standard for it. So yes, so that was kind of step one. But then again, also creating awareness around all of the other aggregate producers in terms of what this can do. And that is a higher level municipal engineering relationship, design engineering relationships that need to be developed, because those would actually be our customers, because they're going to be included in large scale projects. Steel sells itself. It's recycled steel. Everyone knows that the carbon steel that comes out of a tire is some of the most valuable stuff in the world. And so we don't have a problem getting rid of that ever. The thing that we're doing is looking at the market and deciding whether to stockpile or whether to sell. Because, 1 month it could be, 7 cents a pound. And then, there's, Panama Canal's dried up and now you can't get shipments in from China or from wherever they're coming from. And, the steel price, the commodity market shoots up, and now we can, offload into the market.
Yeah, no, that all makes sense. A few questions, hopping off that. First, I believe you said that, your break-even point was 2,178 tires a day. Is that
Yes,
correct?
correct.
So what are you at right now? And what have you,
So
are you recent trajectory up or down?
we are trending up. So we're probably right around, I'm looking forward here for what we're looking at this week. So we're about 1,700. So we're,
Okay.
we were last year this time, we were probably half that. So we're trending upward. And so yeah, that's my expectation. So we just closed a contract a few months ago to process for the province of Ontario, the southern half. And so that has definitely added to our volume. And I think they want to increase that. So if we can get that, along with a couple of other things, innovations that we've done, I think that'll be helpful. 2178 is our break even with the staffing requirements for collection and processing. What we did though recently, and you'll see it if you guys go on the tour, we actually had an engineering firm out of Arizona design a new type of trailer and tire cage for us, which would essentially bring the requirements of a 3-man team down to a 1-man team. And it would reduce the time required at a particular site by about 40%. Which would allow us to bring the cost down to the customer while also increasing our margin.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And yeah, we're all, I believe we're all going on the tour on Saturday. You also had mentioned that you are, I believe, the only company in Detroit with on the hauling end and the transport end.
On the processing.
On the processing end, okay.
Yeah,
So couple questions on that. You have other competitors in the other spaces that you're working in Detroit, and is all your work mainly inside Detroit regarding customers? And do you look to expand outside the city?
So we actually go as far as Ann Arbor, far west as Ann Arbor. We go as far north as Flint. We go as far east as Port Huron. Then we've got some farm customers that we're looking at picking up in the Grand Rapids area. So we've got logistics is always always a challenge, just because it's expensive to move, tons of tires across the state and around the country. We do have 53-foot dry van trailers. So for certain events, we can just spot trailers and then have our drivers go around and pick them up and bring them back for processing. I think that from a competition perspective, we don't have any processing competition in Detroit, but there are several processors, and say like there's one down in Wyandotte, there's one over in it's out east. I want to say like in Macomb County. We've got some in Flint. So there's probably 15 around the state, 15 or 20 around the state, and they are all competing for material. Now, the ambient style grinding process that we use is pretty common. So we're small. These are smaller businesses. The biggest competitor right now, and the biggest concern that people have, is the Alpena plant, Wholesome Lafarge built, which is burning tires. Burning tires for energy because it's got a higher calorific value than coal. And so they are trying to consume they need 5 or 6 million tires a year to feed that plant. Now there's one tire for every person in the country, which is about 300 million tires that are manufactured each year. Michigan has about 10 million people, so there's only about 10 million tires here in Michigan. So if you do the math, they want to capture 60% of the market, and that is problematic, especially since we've got players outside of the state of Michigan also bringing sourcing material from Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, have you looked at, grabbing tires in other states, or Michigan
We
is
are now.
just?
So like I said, we're in Ontario, which is across the border. So it's actually
Yeah.
for them to bring it to us than to Toronto. And then we just dropped a trailer in Ohio. So we're in Ohio now as well.
Okay, awesome. I know that I've been asking a lot. I'm not sure if Gavin or Ethan have anything I'd like to add.
Again, I'll jump in with some questions when I have them. Have you been just going down the sheet we had? I didn't want to interrupt and mess up your flow. If you've been following order of questions.
No, honestly, I've sort of just been bouncing back and forth around based on what Ethan's providing. Ethan, by the way, you're being very helpful. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot
I
of
love
great
to, and so
info.
the thing is for me is that I love having a fresh set of eyes on this because I live in it. I'm in it all day. But to have, perspective from people outside of it, especially people who are as immersed in entrepreneurship and, all things, business. This is good for me as well. So I appreciate you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, of course.
I
Go for it, guys.
guess I would have like one follow-up question. I know you mentioned that the hauling and processing is kind of the core of your business. And you mentioned that you do have, a direct to consumer and then also like a wholesale distribution. I would be curious to learn a little bit more about what those look like and if you're kind of focused on expanding one over the other. If you've seen greater success with direct to consumer, wholesale, we'll just kind of be curious of that overall side of the business.
So direct to consumer has been more successful just because, what we do is we kind of push it in the spring. We've got Eastern Market here. We've got basically a sales force that, works on commission during the season. And it's all consumer facing. We've made some inroads into wholesaling, which is essentially to landscape supply companies in the area. But they do not have space. So when you think of inventory, you think of the cost of that inventory sitting in your space, and they, instead of taking it wholesale, what they've tended to do is simply say, when we get an order, we'll have you guys fill it for us, because they don't want to just take it and have it in their location. So that hasn't been as successful for us. But again, we are looking to, continue to advance. So that particular segment of my business is a starting point. It's not where we're going to eventually end up. I think that where we really want to end up is at Crumb Rubber, but you've got a business that just sucks cash like crazy. So you've got to start where you are, and then you gradually grow into, what's next. But essentially, we're proving out the model works, our financial model works, and then, saying, okay, so here's the next iteration, and building trust along the way.
Gotcha. And so right now it kind of sounds like basically main goal is establishing or, further building up the hauling and processing to the point where you have, enough supply to hit your break even. And then I would assume after that, you'd probably shift more to expanding on like the other side of the business where, you're selling products direct to consumer, potentially wholesale.
Yeah, so direct to consumer is like its own beast, and we do not. Even though it's bigger, we don't want to stay there. We don't. We actually would rather move into. So we're looking at roads. We've got we've got a failing infrastructure, and being in China let me realize just how badly we are failing. But we need innovative solutions to reinforce our infrastructure. And we need sustainable solutions. Rubber modified asphalt is being pushed heavily through Eagle, rubberized chip seal. So we're actually looking at doing some chip seal projects. So I think that rubber mulch is fine because it's really more of a, I won't say it's a loss leader, but it's really more of marketing because we want to drive awareness. But the big thing is going to be aggregate and getting to into roads and getting into filtration.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I a lot of times certain businesses, when you're dealing with D2C, you have to deal with, marketing costs, customer acquisition costs, and those can be a real pain, especially when you're trying to push a new initiative. So that definitely it's understandable. In terms of marketing, are you sort of responsible for, I know you mentioned that you don't have too many employees. Just a brief question about like the website, the Instagram. I was wondering if you were responsible for that,
No.
and someone else's.
Yeah, so Justin is actually doing all of the social media marketing. We just did a small website update to make it a little bit more fresh. I think you saw the minor update. It's actually far better than the first one that we had. The interesting thing about this business is that most people aren't, you have to have a website, but most people aren't going to your website to try to find you for scrap tire recycling, processing, and hauling. Now they will go to your website to find out kind of what you're doing with the tires, where things are going. But what we really are trying to do is to move more into the manufacturing side. So we have kind of held back because again, we just built out a brand guide with one of these with our chief marketing officer that we hired a fractional CMO. And so we've got this brand guide, we've got this new launch. And so we're not spending a lot of time there until we've got a whole cohesive thing. So our colors, our name, our logos, we want it all to be all to work because we've got a big PR campaign that we're going to be looking at as well. This will all coincide with doing this next round of a raise because it's a pretty significant raise that we've got to get done, and it's a very disruptive technology. So
yeah, so it's more of an informational page than it is a
yes,
sales page.
correct.
Yeah, understood. Just want to be clear again. You said you have that big raise coming up. What the main uses for the money will be for that next race, right?
We're going to build a 50,000 ton plant
The
manufacturing
manufacturing plant. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay. I mean, I think from my end, I'm good. What you've told me has been pretty helpful from all ends of the business, and I'm sure it will be, even better to see everything on Saturday. So definitely looking forward to that. Gavin, Ethan, I'm not sure if you
I think
guys
I'm
have.
actually going to be doing a Zoom like with your class like tomorrow or something. I don't know. I think you got a class coming up, or maybe it's next week. I
Yeah,
don't know what it is. Yeah.
we have
Okay.
class today, so not sure if it would be today.
Just see. Hold on. Yeah, I got a Zoom with you guys at 3:30. Yep.
Okay,
All
awesome.
right.
Well, maybe
Yeah.
we'll think of some more questions for you to ask later today too.
Okay.
I guess one thing I would be curious about, I don't know if you guys talked about it before I got on, but obviously you have the most experience with your business. Was curious if there's anything off the top of your head, for us as students working alongside you for this project, potential areas that you would like us to really focus on, or areas where you mentioned it's good to have a fresh set of eyes looking at
Yeah.
the business. Would be interested to hear what you have to say on that.
So what was really interesting about what you guys sent over to me was the you kind of picked up on our technologies, our verticals in terms of how we make money, the weaknesses, threats, and opportunities in your SWOT analysis were actually almost spot on. So market awareness, and I understand the website being vague and confusing, but also lack of recognition. And again, this business takes a lot of cash. I mean, it requires a lot of cash. And so, you know, it is thinking at the requirement to think at a different scale, as being just kind of, this is how this works is new for me, because I come from a service-based business background. And so it doesn't require us to build this huge balance sheet that's full of like excavators and shredders and all that kind of stuff. And so, and it also generates the cycle time is a lot shorter in terms of time to do the work and get paid. And so working capital requirements, all that. I've got a great CFO who he and I did some investment banking work before we launched this, but just getting the mindset around that. But for you all, I want you to look at the overall business, ask any questions that you want. And then I'd love to hear from you all about like what you would do differently, you know, like here's what I would do differently. Because, you know, for me, like I have very little ego. I really just want to build a very successful company, doing well while doing good, you know? And so I think we can solve this problem on a global scale. But we need a model that we can, as they would say, copy all across the country. And so that's, you know, kind of the direction we're moving in. So we're big on innovation. You know, it's actually one of our core values is innovation. So yeah, that's, you know, whatever you guys see and you're like, yeah, I think I'd do this differently. Please do not feel shy, bashful, or anything. Say like, yeah, I think this will work a little better. Have you thought about this?
Awesome. Yeah, it's definitely great to hear that you're very open to our feedback. I think that'll make it you know, a very exciting project for us. So I know I'm definitely looking forward to this semester and continuing to work with you. So
okay, great. Appreciate it.
Did you guys, Ethan or Hunter, have any other questions?
Yeah, just briefly, I was just a little curious about like what like some of your long-term goals are, like in terms of sustainability or profitability. I was just a little curious about.
Yeah, so so long term, I want to build 10 of these new plants around the country. We can build 10 of them. One of the things that we know are two things. Number one, we have a great product with great surface area, which is important for activated carbon to build this filtration system, because PFAS is unregulated right now. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but there's this, watch Blackwater if you get a chance. And it's a huge problem, and it's gonna kill a lot of people. And so we want to get this stuff out of our water if as quickly as possible. And so the better systems we have and the more sustainable they are, I think it's just the better for all of humanity. Secondly, why are we still using virgin materials for new tires? You know, I think that if you look globally, you see that a lot of conflict is based around scarcity of resources, when the truth is that we should actually be reusing a lot of the stuff that we're throwing away. So this problem we'll grow this company around solving this problem, and then I'm going to exit. But then, as my wife would say, she said, "You're just going to find something else to try to solve again." She's known me for a long time, and so that's kind of where we are.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it from us. Again, it was awesome to hear more, and I think we're all on the same page in terms of looking forward to working with you over the course of the semester. We do have a couple team members who weren't able to join today just due to class. Just wanted to let you know that there are two more of us, so there's 5 of us total.
Okay.
And yeah, I guess we'll hear from you in a few hours, and then
All right.
we'll see you on Saturday.
All right. Sounds good. See you guys. Take care.
Awesome. Thanks,
Thanks,
Ethan.
Ethan.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.